Hey guys, ForTheAfro Reviews here, and today I'll be reviewing Chapter 75 of The Promised Neverland. Got the day off, so I'm going to be catching up on this review and Seven Deadly Sins, so look for that too. We start this chapter with a color page actually, which is cool. Color pages are always really nice for a series. In this one we get Emma, Ray, and Norman all looking super happy and adorable together, as well as Phil and the man with no name in the background. It's been a while that we've known the man with no name now, and we still don't know his name, so hoping we learn that soon. It's getting a little weird calling him the man with no name, considering that he's, so integral to the plot now. So we start the chapter proper right back in the crazy new farm that Norman's in, with Adam. We get it's like in a flashback. Adam is seeing Norman's number through the glass, and he, is saying 22194 or whatever Norman's number is. I hope that's right. And he's just repeating it, it's getting stuck in his head here. So I think this is enough to confirm that Norman didn't help him escape. Norman simply was there for him to see his number, and it got stuck in his head because I think he's messed up in the head. So that's a pretty big detail. I don't think they watch Norman too closely for it to be very realistic for him to help him escape. So unless Norman's already freed or already doing something else, since this flashback, I don't think Norman helped him escape anymore. Following this, we get Emma. She's doing target practice with guns now instead of a bow and arrow. But previously she used a bow and arrow because she wanted to be more light on her feet, and she had a pistol too. But now she's practicing with some bigger guns and rifles, and of course she's getting bullseyes and stuff. She's insanely talented. She found a couple that work for her, which is good because she's a small girl, so she can't really use a big ass gun. That was kind of what they were talking about earlier. But now she's found a couple rifles that work for her. Probably low in power, but enough to accurately hit the spot that kills demons. So they work. We then get a few of the kids coming up, talking to Emma and the people she's training with, saying, "Hey, we got some of the prep work done here. We're getting ready to fight the demons. We're going to counterattack, and we're going to escape." Emma asks them if they know how to kill the demons, to which they have a little flashback of Lucas, I'm assuming, telling them how to kill them and stuff. And we get this little monologue, which I think is really needed. One of the kids is talking about how she had to turn that blind eye to so many people. She couldn't help them despite having the ability to at least somewhat help. She knows how to kill the demons, so she could have done some good and saved some lives probably. But in doing that, the demons would then be alerted. They would know that they can be hurt by them. The kids can fight back. I mean, Lewis probably would have loved it, but all the other demons would then be on their toes and on their guard, and it wouldn't have worked out very well for them. I mean, this is kind of the same thing that's happening with Emma here, because we see at the end of the chapter that they start the hunt early, and it's pretty much because Lewis knows Emma and got all excited. So it has some ramifications fighting back, but the damage is done by Emma already, so whatever. It's kind of sad though. It kind of negates the whole thing that they were letting people die so that they could take them by surprise, and now they're not taking them by surprise, or at least not by surprise as much because they're expecting Emma, and maybe Emma to convince a couple other kids and let them know the weakness, because Archduke Lewis very much saw that she was aiming for the eye with the axe that she threw in a couple chapters past. Emma is then warned by one of the kids about Archduke Lewis specifically. He's talking about how Lucas and his previous group, the man with no name, being the leader of this said group, were here, and they actually stood up to the demons. They stood, they fought back and stuff, but it didn't end well. For a long time, they were doing good, and they hadn't lost a single life. But once Archduke Lewis, they caught his eye pretty much, and he was all right, I want to hunt. I want to feel the thrill of the hunt with these guys. They were pretty much doomed at that point. Archduke Lewis killed them off one by one, and kind of festering the man with no name's anger and trying to, get him to become a killer. And I'd honestly say it kind of worked, considering how we saw him later. I mean, he wasn't just murdering kids left and right or something, but he seemed pretty unstable and pretty pissed off at the world, and I think Archduke Lewis was a big part of that. It's also a quick mention that because Archduke Lewis is crazy and pretty much he's pretty much unpredictable, and it was hard to make a strategy around him, and that if their strategy goes wrong, it's gonna be because of Archduke Lewis, for sure, is what they're pretty much saying. And then we get a shot of Emma kind of recounting all the stuff Archduke Lewis does and how he's just a terrible, I was going to say human being, but terrible demon, even for the whole, demon standard. But and it looks like she's getting really pissed off. Like he's festering her anger really well. Like he's doing a good job. I'm hoping Emma, keeps it under wraps, or maybe she has a chance to kill Archduke Lewis, but in doing so would endanger more than it's worth. So she lets him go or something, and he returns later. I think that'd be a really cool move story-wise and plot-wise, especially if she does try to attack him, fails, and then something goes wrong. Like I know it's kind of tragic, but tragic stuff in these kind of stories, it usually makes it a better story. Like I like seeing consequences for characters' action, and since Norman isn't dead, which I'm thankful for, don't get me wrong, but since he isn't dead, I'd like to see some stakes raised a little bit. In the next portion of the chapter, we see the kids eating. They're, getting food and stuff. It looks almost like a little festival, honestly, in the little town the demons made for them. And we then see Theo again, which we haven't seen in a little bit, I don't think. And he's not doing so well. He hasn't even changed his clothes since the last attack, and I don't think he's eaten anything either. And we get a little flashback to Violet talking to him, saying, "Hey, Emma brought you some clothes, change into them," because Emma's a nice girl trying to take care of him and whatnot. And Violet then talks about how she let his family die. She totally let his family die, and how he's not the only one. She's let a lot of people's families die, but they're gonna end it. They're gonna end the hunt. And Theo's, after thinking about this for a little bit and talking to Emma, he kind of breaks down and he just cries, man. He's frustrated and angry at his own powerlessness, that he couldn't do anything to save his own family. And upon realizing that everyone's lost family, he feels even worse. Emma reassures him really well, actually. Make sure to tell him hey, it's all right. This could all end today or even tomorrow, tomorrow or the next hunt or whatever. And which I found kind of weird. I was almost when I first reading it, I was like, oh, is she expecting him to come early? And then it's funny because he does come early next, and Emma looks super surprised. So that's not what she was thinking. But at first, I thought she was implying that the Archduke was going to strike early and that she already thought of it. But I don't think that's the case, considering how surprised she looked. During the little Theo flashback where he's talking to Violet, Violet also mentions that he must be thinking if after she says that, hey, we're gonna end this next hunt, that he must be thinking why next hunt, why not last hunt when my family died, or the hunt before that when someone else's family died or something, and I think that's a really cool little detail. She's seeing it from his perspective, and she just kind of assures him hey, I can't really tell you why, but we're gonna avenge him. That's the best thing I can say. That's the best I can offer you. I know your family's dead, and I know that you're never going to be over that probably, but we're going to avenge them. And that was a cool little moment for them. I like seeing their interactions. I hope both these characters stick around. I know we already have a lot of kids, but we can kill off some of the ones we already have or something. I think I sound kind of cynical right now, but I like these characters, and I know we already have a lot, so if some die off, I hope it's not these two. So like I mentioned previously in this review, the demons, they do strike early. The music starts playing as the kids are eating, and they're all surprised because it's only been one day as opposed to usually it's I think 3 days or something before there's another attack. So we get a really cool shot of all the demons, and we see Archduke Lewis in the front with his weird monkey thing. We see this one weird demon who's sitting crisscross, and he's on a chair that's being carried by two other demons, and then we see a couple all black demons in the background, and there's one with big horns here. It's a pretty crazy whole ensemble here. And I'm thinking that at least the one in the chair and the two black ones in the back and the one with the horns in the front are gonna get a little bit of exposition, or they're gonna do something important, as opposed to there's two with just regular weird circle heads with one eye, and they look kind of unimportant, to be honest. I may be wrong, obviously. I'm just throwing shit out there, but it's seeming the other ones I mentioned are the more important ones, especially the guy in the chair. He really caught my attention. What makes him so important that he's being carried in a chair? He can't even touch the ground. He's too cool for that. I'm assuming maybe he's the one that owns the pond, because I don't think Archduke Lewis owns it. I think he's just a crazy guy who goes there and is the most insane, looking for the thrill of the hunt and whatnot. So maybe this other guy is the one that owns Goldie Pond. The chapter ends with all the kids scattering to get their weapons and whatnot and take their positions to defend against the demons. And they said they got some preparations done earlier in the chapter, but I'm not sure if that means they got all of them done. They were expecting to have 2 more days, so I'm assuming no, they're not completely ready. And not having their guns immediately is also going to be a big issue. Some of the demons might catch up with them or kill a couple before they can get their weapons, or maybe they know of this plan because it's a traitor or something. That's a possibility. and then they like lock down the area where they have the guns or something. That's like, I don't know, that's kind of specific, but if they can't get to their guns for some reason because the demons know of their plan already, that would be devastating. That would be absolutely devastating. Emma almost killed a demon with an axe, so it's not impossible for them to, fight even without guns, but it's going to be at least 1,000,000 times harder considering the demons are huge and scary and demons. Yeah. So that's pretty much it for this review, guys. Sorry it was late again, but I will try to get it out at least a little bit sooner next week. And if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, let people know about the channel. I got a lot of growth thanks to my boy Roger's base, but still would like to grow the channel even more and improve the quality of my videos. So yeah, till next time, guys. See ya.